Oshodi, one of the areas in Lagos State.
But what are the consequences of this?
Hello there and a warm welcome to this week's edition of Super Eye on Super Screen Radio 45. I'm Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. It's really good to know that you are there to keep a date with us, and many thanks that the World Cup is over now, so we will get to see ourselves like a regular basis. And so on that note, I welcome you once again to Super Eye. Now today on the program, we want to take a look at the election, which is the first conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Of course, it is the litmus test ahead of the 2019 general election. Sure, by now you know where I am driving to. Yes, it is the just concluded Ekiti governorship election, which produced the winner in the candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC and the president of Dr. Kayode Fayemi. Yes, there have been a lot of reactions, allegations and counter allegations, but of course I don't want to bore you with that right now. But the reason for which it has become imperative for us to talk about this is that as gatekeepers, it is our own responsibility to always point out the ills of our society. And the essence is for us to achieve a better nation and in democratic culture in Nigeria. We need to point out the observable ills in the election conducted by INEC in Ekiti State. So right about now, I want to refresh our memories on how the election actually went on that very day. Yes, I was on ground in Ekiti State, and quickly to have an inkling for us to be able to discuss the issue, let's take a listen to the report of which was reported during the election by myself. The Ekiti State governorship election, as against what many have been expecting, nursing the fear that it will be violent, was generally peaceful. Electorate and party agents conducted themselves appropriately, and accreditation and voting proper started at exactly 8 a.m. In Isho Ekiti, voting commenced at exactly 8 a.m. and the people came out in their numbers, of course, to cast their vote for their preferred candidate. Behind me, you can see that the turnout is indeed very large, but of course it will be right for us to find out from this electorate if the electoral materials got here in time. So, good morning.
Now we are here to force our candidates, our choice in what things at occasion in Isho Ekiti.
Very cooperative, no problem, no delay, nothing like that.
At exactly 10:15 a.m., the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC, Kayode Fayemi, arrived to cast his vote.
My expectation is to be announced as the elected governor of Ekiti State at the close of this process. So the expectations of my people are not dissimilar to my own expectation. We are running on our record of what we did when we were in office, and we are confident that the electorate will return us as the winner in this election.
At Ikere Ekiti, the People's Democratic Party candidate Kolapo Olusola Eleka also cast his vote.
I'm satisfied, and I want to appreciate INEC for being prompt, but I also want to encourage them that in case that happens, they are not that person. We find a way how possible. It doesn't have to be to VIP, right? The other man out there does not have the opportunity.
The The state governor, Ayodele Fayose, also cast his vote at Afao.
The process has been hijacked by security agencies. It is a national disgrace for the security agency, national disaster, and there is danger ahead. Remember, we raised all these issues. As I speak to you, they said they deployed 30,000 policemen, military, paramilitary, and as I speak to you, thugs are snatching ballot boxes everywhere under the cover of the police.
Exercise stopped at exactly 2 o'clock, and right about now the votes are now being counted, and this is just 10 minutes to 3, and the people are waiting earnestly to see who is going to win a different polling unit. Behind me is still in Okenyimni, and that is polling unit 2 over there, and also beside me here is polling unit 4. The people are waiting earnestly to see who will eventually emerge. About this time, once they're done with the counting, it goes straight to INEC office. From Okenyimi in Okenyila Junction in Ado-Ekiti, I'm Adenike Ajiboye, reporting for Super Screen News. All right, that was the reports in which were brought back from Ekiti State. Yes, if we sit down here and pretend as if there are no issues in the just concluded Ekiti governorship election, then it means that we are not just being truthful. Now, as gatekeepers, as a member of the 4th estate of the REM, I also felt it was important to talk to observers and people on the field, yes, colleagues of mine, to get their opinion about how the election went. And now one thing that I must tell you that happened in Ekiti State was the act of buying and selling a vote, which for me is a criminal offense. So I don't just want to sit here and tell you like it is my own opinion. Yes, it was what I saw, and other people also say that. So before we move on to enable us have a good discussion about the Ekiti governorship election, I want us to also take a listen at what the observers and journalists on field had to say about the election.
So far, it's been very, very impressive. About 79% of polling units across the states recorded early arrival of polling officials at 7:30. That is very, very impressive. We will be releasing more data, but I think the logistical arrangement for this election has been very, very impressive. The conduct of the security agencies so far has also been very, very impressive. You can see there is also a huge turnout of voters who have come out to cast their vote, defying all odds and the huge presence of security officials. We will wait to ensure that we keep an eye on this process, but we are very, very optimistic that this will be a very peaceful election. What the polling officials are insisting is to ensure that they uphold the secrecy of the ballot. The location of the cubicle as well as the ballot box is very, very critical, and party agents and observers as well as the voters must insist that the cubicles should be posted or hosted in parameters where the secrecy of the ballot can be protected. The security agencies have deployed massively for this election. Vote buying or vote selling is an electoral offense. So we expect that they won't just fold their hands and just watch when these electoral crimes are committed, but they will arrest any individual who is involved in both vote buying or vote selling.
With the kind of politicians that we have, their character, you can't really trust them. So the voters, the electorate, tend to believe that let me just get what I could get now, and he can be there for 4 years if he like. He does well. If he wants to do what we are clamoring for, fine. If he doesn't want to do it, yeah, fine. But I have just this little I've gotten is okay for me, and that is why the politicians too, they kept on perpetuating the people in poverty.
INEC should still evolve more on their card reader. Well, we have an appreciable level of progress with the card reader, not like before where we were having malfunction of card readers. But now I think things are better, but it can still get much more better. The government, the police, the security personnel should work more, and INEC, on even media, on the need to know how to curb these particular fire that is coming to our electoral system, vote buying. It's everywhere. We must work against it. Otherwise, we will have issues with our electoral process.
The vote buying, I thought we were done with that culture. I thought we are going to look at our conscience guiding us rather than these peanuts that can't even take care of your daily meal, let alone your 4 years, because whatever money is spent to buy a vote must be recouped. And I think it's also a pointer to the INEC, the commission itself, to give bite to the law that punishes election fraudsters, as it were. So these are some of the take-home in this election, because it appears nothing has changed. It appears we haven't learned our lessons. Good, kudos to the winner. Probably he did a good job by canvassing vote, but beyond that, it is important that we must have a good electoral culture where we believe in the person, not what the person will give us.
They come, they're supposed to, give us some information, notice, at least maybe a week or so. There was nothing like that.
Hunger is everywhere in Nigeria. People are dying every day, but Nigerian government are keeping quiet. How and killing people? Why?
It's not what we expected because of these old men that are leading us, and you people know, you are aware that these people are not the right people to lead us. These kind of people that are leading us here are people of black mind. They just care about themselves and their family.
You are affecting my village. Let me use if I call it useless, I'm not a mistake. The other place where they build a shop, call it plaza. Each shop there 4 million naira. So I don't have the money, so I have to leave.
If you plan to get
information, notice, at least maybe a week or so. There was nothing like that.
Hunger is everywhere in Nigeria. People are dying every day, but Nigerian government are keeping quiet. How and killing people? Why?
It's not what we expected because of these old men that are leading us, and you people know, you are aware that these people are not the right people to lead us. These kind of people that are leading us here are people of black mind. They just care about themselves and their family.
You are affecting my village. Let me use if I call it useless, I'm not a mistake. The other place where they build a shop, call it plaza. Each shop there 4 million naira. So I don't have the money, so I have to leave.
If you plan to get a tribal mark, it takes a lot of pain, but after some time, you enjoy it. No, we experience hold up now during the construction time. Then after some time, we start enjoying it.
The way they are doing the construction is too slow. It's too slow. The construction is too slow. They should stop the construction and make sure people go into their businesses and do their businesses.
All right, welcome back. Well, before we went to that break, you saw a cross-section of journalists and an observer telling us how the election went. Yes, no doubt, the security personnel conducted themselves right. Now, as against all of the shouting and all of that, a lot of people were nursing the fear that the election people won't really come out. There will be voters' apathy. But eventually, I tell you, a lot of people came out in Ekiti State to cast their vote. Now, the question is, was there a motivation for which the people have come out? I have to tell you the truth. Like you heard from my colleagues, what they said there, a buying and selling of a vote is one thing that was, conspicuous right there in Ekiti State. And if we're talking about democracy, I think this is a punishable offense. Why the All Progressives Congress, APC, were giving about 5,000, between 5,000 and 10,000 to people of Ekiti State. The People's Democratic Party, PDP people were also given about 2,000, 4,000, and that's apart from the 3,000 naira sent into civil servants' account by the sitting president. Now, all of these, you want to say that it is allegations, but it is what we saw while we were there. So I want to know, what is the problem about our election in this country? Why can't we do without money politics? Is it that we will continue to sell our conscience and voting the wrong people, or voting the people that eventually we cannot demand the dividends of democracy from? So today, to join me on this discussion is a 5% National Publicity Secretary of Afenifere. I'm talking of Yinka Odumakin. Many thanks for coming on Super Eye, sir. All right. All right, beautiful. I want us to quickly look at the just concluded Ekiti governorship election. Of course, it is a litmus test for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, into the 2019 general election. What's your view about the election?
Well, I think the last week election conducted in the state was, in all its ramifications, a travesty of democracy. It makes a mockery of the democratic process. It's an embarrassment, and because it's not just from media accounts, local observers, international observers. Today I was listening to the British High Commissioner saying that buying and selling of votes is worse than rigging. It's rigging, or equal as rigging. And the only person that I've seen that have denied vote buying in this election was the governor-elect. I saw him on TV 2 days ago saying that there was nothing of such. But it cannot mean that the media, the international local observers are lying. For me, I think we should look at this thing in a very deeper dimension. Just about a month ago, Nigeria was classified as the world secretariat of poverty that we overtook India. And as in fact, every minute, 6 Nigerians are going to extreme poverty. What is clear to me is that our politicians, they have used poverty as a weapon of social engineering. They have made our people, they pauperize our people. And the pauperized people are easy for manipulation. So they now, and this started in those states. When they say, oh, the Bogosebe, that is, sell your conscience and cook soup.
All right.
And so it worries me, and it worries all distant people that our people have not been turned to commodities to be bought and purchased. And I don't want to say that this is about the, like you said, it's not just the winning party, the party that won, that drew money. Even the party that lost.
Of course, both parties. Money,
but just that they are federal posts. They had more money. So those who had more money to distribute
than the incumbents
in the states. But all those who are involved in this process should bury their heads in shame that they have turned our people to commodities to be purchased on nations day, that they do not believe in themselves. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust their manifestos. That they have to induce our people with money. It's a shame.
All right, then, let's look at the results released by INEC, because we were there overnight and listening to the REC, announcing the result and all of that. Now, what baffles me is that the All Progressives Congress, according to INEC, got a total vote of 197,459, while the PDP got 178,114. And which means if you, the total, according to INEC, is 316,019. But if you calculate this very well, the right calculation will give you 197,459 plus 178,114. You have 375,573. Now, which shows a difference of 59,554. Do you think that this is a pardonable mistake?
Well, I think the court will be very busy if even the parties decide to go to the tribunals. It's also, they say that when you steal in a hurry, you are bound to make mistakes. But I don't think that this thing was done in a hurry. Because 2 days ago, I was with some journalists in Abuja who were telling me that they already had the results as at 2 p.m. on election day. While voting was still going on, that the vote election was ready, that the APC, for the result they got, won in 12 local governments, APDP won in 4. And when the result came out, the tally was all they had, while voting was still going on. So it was clear that
something went wrong
with these results, and it would be good for the courts to be able to pronounce on this if any of the party chose to challenge the results in courts. But it further shows that the Ekiti electorates were not just more than ballot boxes in these elections, in what probably have been predetermined, and the people are just brought out the way they bring out ballot boxes to show that elections going on, whereas things might have been predetermined. It's also out to the shame that in 2018, this is where we are, that in one state, the figures cannot add up. So what do we expect when we conduct election? 36 states. And this is supposed to be season of anti-corruption. What corruption can be worse than what's going on, than what went into that? That's a shame.
You know, it also baffles me that, it was said that PDP won in 4 local government areas with 178,114, while APC won in 12 local government areas with 197,459. For me, I can't fathom this really. But what do you think this pertains for our electoral process in this country?
Now, what shows that we're not yet there, and that things are getting worse and worse, and that the desperation of politicians is making a mockery and a total shame of the electoral process. Of course, this actually, the election in Ekiti lacked absolute integrity, and whoever came tops out of such a degenerate contest has a tainted victory that lacks any integrity, and that it is, and when you want to lack integrity, the whole thing is rubbish. So clearly, I think we'd like to see the judiciary making a pronouncement on this kind of elections, and it is a total aberration and an embarrassment, and it's only a political class that totally near from shame that are pumping glasses that they've got some victory here.
All right, let's look at the pre-activities leading to the election. We saw the incumbent governor, Ayodele Fayose, coming out to say that he was threatened by the police. The police also made an attempt on his life, saying that they used the butt of the gun to hit him and all of that. What do you make out of such display?
Well, clearly, I think Fayose came out to make some allegations. Some people said it was theatrics. Some people said it actually happened. But we may not see what happened between Fayose and the police inside the government house. But we saw what happened to people outside. How innocent and different people were being battered, being tear gassed, guns being shot at them. And these are law enforcement agents that could not face Boko Harams. Who have been killing in thousands, in hundreds every day. They cannot stop it. You now take 30,000 people to be molesting innocent people, harassing, intimidating them, which shows clearly that the contest for power has greater interest from ruling elites than protecting and securing the lives of the people. And the police, of course, admitted that the brutality was narrow and not happen again. So even if we did not see what happened to Fayose inside, if you say, oh, he's acting, some say it's a dramatist, that kind of rest, while the people outside who are being tear gassed, guns are being shot at, who are being brutalized like animals by those who are paid to defend them, are you saying that those ones are drama? I think the conduct of the police in Ekiti was very shameful, and they hold this country an apology. And it's a professional police will not behave the way they behave to our people in Ekiti State, and will reject that kind of treatment, that people are treated like animals, is embarrassing. And it shows clearly that we do not have a professional police at this stage.
But then we saw that the People's Democratic Party, PDP, of course, from the national seconders, which is seconders, given an order that all PDP chapters across the 36 states go and protest to the Commissioner of Police in that very state. But was that the best of the action they were supposed to take, or would you rather expect something else from them?
Well, I think their initial reaction was okay. The culture of protest, which is sustained in this country, people are bound to continue to misbehave if their actions are not protested. It's not that it was after their protest that the police admitted what they did and they apologized and said it will not happen again. So I think the protest was in order, but I think they should go beyond that. There should be some court action to challenge this barbarity on the part of the police. Is unfair. It's not good for what they did. For those who have committed no crime, innocent citizens, to be harassed that way, clearly it shows a partisan police force that has been deployed for partisan purposes and not carrying out their duties professionally. In an election season, how can you say people cannot gather and hold rallies? Even protests, the court has pronounced on this. In any case, some few weeks ago, when some policemen went on protest in Maiduguri, who gave them permission to protest? So it clearly shows you that any person, including policemen, when they are pushed to the wall, will protest. But what was going on? No, it was not protest. People are just gathering for campaigns. They are in white, they are dressed, carrying drums, singing, no weapon, nothing. They are not breaking down, no breach of peace. They are not damaging property. And for you now to go and begin to open fire on them, to be shooting tear gas at them, to be brutalizing them that way, I think in a decent climate, in fact, the IG of police should resign over this kind of thing.
Well, we should not be surprised if eventually, what happened some months ago, I think, when the IG was being summoned by the National Assembly for like 4 times now, 3 times or so, and he hasn't shown up. So would you rather think it is now that the IG of police will resign? No, I don't think so.
no, I mean, I said in a distraction. In a decent climate. We are not in a decent climate. Even in a decent climate, that IG will not be in office. The IG that the president came on here, so I asked him to go to Benue 3 months after, I didn't know that he didn't go. He's still in office. He's receiving someone in the Senate, see the way he's behaving. So clearly, we are still a banana republic of its sorts. Impunity reigns in the land, no rule of law. There's no boundary of decency. So what we are seeing shows clearly a society that is falling apart, whose moral columns have collapsed. And that's why we can be witnessing all this kind of absurdity in the names of policy.
All right, in deepening democratic culture in Nigeria, what would be your advice to the political elites or leaders in regards to some of these attitudes? We've seen Fayose came out to say hate. We've seen House of Senate member also coming out to also, what will be your advice to them?
Clearly, we need a new order. We need a new political leadership. We need a visionary, dynamic leadership in this country. The leadership we have at the moment, I'm sorry to say, there are clearly an apology. A kind of leadership we have in Nigeria at the moment, with the political class, it's not the forward-looking. It's not humanized. It's not civilized. They conduct their activities with impunity. They have no kind of regard for the people, for processes. They are higher than all our institutions. We have strong men instead of strong institutions. So we need a new political culture and a political leadership in this country that can begin to put the country at right. At the moment, we're in a state of anarchy and chaos because we have clearly a predatory set of people as political leaders.
Just a state of anarchy and chaos.
Of course.
How do you expatiate on that?
Huh? I just give you know, every now and then you see all kind of barbaric conduct in the midst. I mean, seeing innocent people being brutalized, being beaten, being kicked, guns being shot at them, fighting, tear gassed. People have done nothing. Every now and then you see high-handedness on the part of our officials. You see the way our law enforcement, the way they behave, the way they believe that might is right. They do not operate by the laws of the land. So that's anarchy. That's chaos.
All right, thank you. For the benefit of our viewers, you can now make your contribution on the topic which we're talking about, the Ekiti governorship election. What's your take about it? A lot of people are saying that, also, sir, a lot of people are saying that what happened now is a kind of, how do I put it now? Like in 2014, when the election was conducted, okay, I have a call already. Emmanuel is calling from Sierra Leone. Hello, Emmanuel. You're welcome to Super I. Okay, I think we lost that call. Yeah. Okay, it's what happened in 2014 election. Realized that, okay, the PDP won, and it was as if the APC too came all out this time with the determination to also pay Ayodele Fayose back in his own coin. What do you make out of this?
Well, if there are things that are wrong in 2014 in Ekiti, and then another set of wrong things in 2018, so in 2022, so will it be a vicious cycle? Are we going to continue that way? We, people like us, either in part of PDP or APC or anybody, we don't condone impunity of any sort. Because once you condone it, you won't be able to stop. And I say now, oh, it's happened in 2014, something happened in 2014, there's something greater was happened in 2018, something greater than that was happened in 2022. Where are we going to end this?
So how do we even put a stop to it? How? Do you really think that Nigeria can actually...
We have to put an end to this nonsense that's going on in our country. We must start on a fresh slate. We must begin to play by the rules.
All right, sir. Let me quickly take. Emmanuel is back again. Emmanuel, you're welcome to Super I. Good afternoon. Let's have your contribution. Okay, you're welcome. Okay.
This is a clear indication. Therefore, Nigeria should not expect any critical election next year. We are disappointed in this administration. The government should be very, very careful the way they use the police to molest us. In this country, the police have molested us in so many ways, especially elections. They are the ones that are putting us mostly. This is my contribution. I do not expect any good election next year. It is an indication that they are going to reach or use the police to pursue us for the following and to give them away next year.
So, Emmanuel, does that mean that you also feel that Ekiti election was not credible?
No, it's credible at all. They are not credible at all. Because I look at one result. There's no two same results that come from the local government. There are one local government that says 10,271. Two local government have the same results. Which is not possible to do election. So just see that the manipulation there. So that is why the PDP government, the police control their agents and collected their car and make the PDP member. But we will not know for them to do their normal. So that's what happened in that election. There's no to be a fair election in that way.
All right, many thanks, Emmanuel, for calling. All right, we were saying something earlier, and also based on what Emmanuel has just said there, that is not expecting any credible election in 2019.
Money shows today, Emmanuel may be right, and I think that's why the INEC should watch it, because the Ekiti election is a bad advertisement, bad promo for 2019 elections, and INEC should be on his toes to ensure that what happened in Ekiti does not repeat itself, because when you are causing disaster when your citizens begin to lose confidence in the process ahead of the elections. You see, the expectations, if we have expectations, if something is dashed, you may not have one in your hand. But once you already apprehend that, oh, it's not going to be okay, and it happens, then the reaction will be different.
Okay, we have Paul. Hello, Paulie. Welcome to Super Eye. Good evening. Let's have your contribution.
Yeah, thank you. My contribution is that we treat the fact that maybe, in election, it's either you fight you are supporting didn't win or you want that is doing. In any context like that, one side must win. And the fact that the area you are supporting or the party you are supporting is not win, should not make us to start overestimating or trying to say certain things that did not happen. Like in the last election, remember that a lot of governors in Nigeria or opposition parties were not even allowed freedom of movement of opposition parties were not allowed. We knew that some hooded security men were brutalizing people, shooting into some of the time. Even the governor who was on the fight was even brutalized. This election that happened, and yes, there was this issue of vote buying and this thing. But for someone to come and tell us now that people were brutalized, shot at, killed, this and that, we know what happened. The election was a kind of free and fair. That's what we talk about in Nigeria. Nobody expected it to be this cool. But for someone to start telling us that like 2019 election is going to be war, based on what we saw, if you check what happened in that election, it was beyond the expectation of all Nigerians. Let us be factual about it.
All right, Paul. Sorry, excuse me, Paul. Okay, Paul, please. Okay, he's gone. But I think I need to point it out here that callers, if you're calling, it is not to blame whoever has spoken. It is for you to make your contribution on what you think, what you feel happened. And so we take your contribution the way it is, but not to say that whoever has called earlier was not being truthful or does not know what he or she is saying. Now, don't forget that the essence of pointing out some of these observable ills is to ensure that those who are involved in election process, try to do the right thing for the overall interest of the nation. Nobody is supporting any party.
I can't even say that any honest person can come out and say that people are not brutalizing it. Even the police admitted that it's happened and it did not happen again. So for somebody to not be coming out to say that it did not happen, I think something's wrong. Because even the police themselves, they admitted that people are brutalized. And that it will not happen again. That it happened in error.
Okay, like even I was on ground there, and I can tell you at the time I was reporting, even when I went to the winner of the election, Kayode Fayemi's, Dr. Kayode Fayemi area, the whole people there were, in support of him. And there was nothing like ballot snatching at that area. But I want to shock you, such happened in other places. So it's not enough to conclude with 2 or 3 areas that you've seen, then you said this is it. No.
No, the issue is not, it's not only the media. I said in the papers, even the British High Commissioner,
they came out and said that
this has happened. So there's no, it's a hallmark of dishonesty for anybody to come out and say this thing is not happening.
So it doesn't even look like one is coming here to stand for one party or the other. And when we started, we told you that both parties were engaged in selling and buying votes. It was what we saw.
Maybe that some party had more money to do than the other.
You understand me? So, but what we're also looking at is, when are we going to change this culture? Is it a deliberate effort by the political elites to, subject the people to poverty in such a way that when election comes around, they begin to give them money and everybody run towards it and they sell their conscience? Now, looking ahead of 2019 general election, this is what we want to face. We don't have to be influenced by money. we don't have to sell our conscience, because this is a country, it's a project for all of us, and we have to work together to ensure that we achieve the Nigeria of our dreams. So now let's go back to the we're looking at the pre-activities leading to the election. So what did I even stop? I think we're looking at all the allegations raised by...
Of course, we are the question of, the question of violence.
Yes.
Well, we are seeing that, we said, well, we may not see what happened between Fayose and the police.
So it's not enough for us to...
But we saw what happened to the people outside.
Yes.
And on that we can pronounce clearly. And the police themselves, having seen the overwhelming evidence of brutalization, admitted something was wrong, and they promised it will not happen again, and we are insisting it must not happen again. There should be no reason for it to be brutalizing innocent citizens who have committed no crimes than further they are exercising their rights, either to campaign, to assemble, to gather. Except they begin to destroy things, they begin to bomb for things, they begin to cause violence. That's why you can use force. But for people to gather peacefully, there is no way basis for you to deploy violence against such people. I must not accept it.
All right, let's look at the the conclusion of the election. Okay, now we've seen that the incumbent governor, Ayodele Fayose, has lost out to Dr. Kayode Fayemi. Why would you think that the governor of Ekiti State actually, lost out of that election?
Well, it's for if there were no issues of vote buying, manipulations, allegations, and rest of them now, you could have gone to maybe, okay, let's look at the factors. But the allegations of manipulations of vote buying and rest are too widespread and too overwhelming to be talking about other factors that could have been responsible for who won or who lost in this election. For me, really, I think the whole process is just too shameful to be talking of who lost or who won in this kind of contest. There was no contest in terms of ideas, in terms of what the party stood for, in terms of their promises. But it was about the deployment of violence, deployment of money, and the rest of them, and the rest. I mean, it makes no sense of any analysis of why somebody won and somebody lost.
All right, looking at it, because for me, from part of my findings, is that the sitting governor is owing the civil servants up to, I think, 5 to 9 months' salaries. And for me, if we say that we are practicing democracy, which is government of the people, for the people, by the people, should you think that any governor should be owing his workers 5 to 9 months' salaries?
Well, for me, really, as a federalist, I believe that there are issues, unsettled issues in Nigeria today, why I will not be able to pronounce magisterially on any governor not pay salaries. At the 2014 National Conference, I got up on the floor of the conference to say that if oil money run into crisis, only Lagos states can afford to pay salaries of workers regularly. And when you look at it, today we have states that are owing 2 years salary, 18 months, 20-something months, clinical months, because of the perverse system we are running. We say we are a federal republic of Nigeria, but we are running a unitary system. Abuja sits on all the resources. I mean, the other day I had the president who went to America and saying that which state do we want to have state police, the state that we are giving bailout to pay salaries. And I look at him, and what is it that is it cows that they're raising Abuja that the federal government is giving me bailout from? Is it not the resources of all the states that have cornered and sitting in Abuja? Abuja does not produce pure water. The resources that the states you hold and pay taxes to the center, you corner everything in Abuja. You take 52%, you deduct it. Up to now, they've not resolved the federal account committee for the month of May. Under Jonathan, before Jonathan left, we were paying subsidy on 23 million liters of fuel. Today we are paying on 67 million liters of the fuel. So what happened? So until we resolve these issues, that we practice true federalism, that we allow the states who own the resources to take care of them and pay tax to the center. That is when we can stop this dysfunctionality in our system. I'm not saying it's responsible for governors to hold salaries, but where, look, let me tell you, based on what they're doing now, oil and gas, 1983, Shagari's budget was $25 billion. We were 80 million then. Today we are 200 million people.
And
Buhari's budget is $23 billion.
Oh my God.
$2 billion short of what Shagari was doing in 1983, based on oil and gas research. Whereas this country has the capacity, as against a $9 trillion budget we are doing now, to have a $50 trillion budget annually. If you allow true federalism, we allow every section of Nigeria to take care of their resources under their soil. And there's no state in Nigeria that's not blessed one resource or another. But the present constitution says that only federal government is in charge of mines and mineral resources. So there is a fundamental problem. Beyond the responsibility of most of the governors, there are fundamental problems why states are starved of resources, why they cannot meet their obligations, because the center takes everything, dole out, and does not allow the state initiative, opportunity to mine their resources and make money for them.
All right, thank you, sir. Ita, you're welcome to Super I. Let's have your contribution. Good afternoon. Sorry, Ita, I'm not getting him out. Sorry, Ita, you're saying something should be done about what? Okay. Okay. All right, many thanks. All right, thank you, Ita. Thanks for your contribution. I think Ita is still talking about the harassment from police and saying that SARS, something should be done about how they harass people and all of that. Well, it's just a clarion call on our security agencies to know that they are there for the people, and so should be more civilized with the way they act to the people.
Yeah.
All right, let's ride on with the...
So clearly, I think that we definitely something wrong with our system. And I still remember this president, Yar'Adua, may so rest in peace. He did say, you know, after I came out to office in 2007, he admitted that the process that brought him in was flawed. And that's when he set up the waste panel to go around the country and see what can be done. Although he died in office before he could acquire these things. But we need leaders to come to terms the way Yar'Adua did, by being honest enough to admit that something's wrong with this system, we must do something about it. That's how much of leadership.
All right, finally, because we need to go, time is not on our side. Looking at the topic which we're talking about, how do you think we can sanitize our electoral process, really?
Well, clearly, I think we must make our institution very strong. Our institution should be greater than our politicians. We must also ensure that adherence to the rule of law, that our laws are not observed in the breach, and that we don't live by impunity. If this is what the law says, whoever runs out of the law should be punished accordingly. Because, you know, where crimes are not punished, the hearts of men are said to do iniquity. And once you believe, the people also believe that once I'm aligned in the right direction, I can afford to break the law not to happen to me, then we have an unhealthy system. So leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership. The leadership must be able to rise beyond their personal political interests to act in the interest of society, to ensure that there's strict adherence to the rules of the engagement for the health of the polity, and that we begin to punish wrongs. Once you don't punish wrongs, many more people will want to do what is wrong, and wrong will become right in our polity.
Right, on that note, I want to say a very big thank you to you. Many thanks for obliging us, and I hope that if I call you again, you will be here for us.
Sure, for sure.
All right, to my viewers, many thanks for your contribution. We've been speaking with the National Publicity Secretary of the Pan-Yoruba Group, Afenifere, Dr. Yinka Odumake. Well, that's how it's going to be on this week's edition of the program. Of course, we looked at the Ekiti State gubernatorial election, the observable ills, and how we think that our leaders can get it right. We can only hope that the best will come out of our election in this country. Well, I'm Adenike Owoye Ajiboye, urging you to join us at the same time for another edition of the program. It's bye for now.